Actually, the infinite flow of generosity leads us right to that, to really the oneness from which we're born, that we can awaken and understand it more. You know, if you look in the glossary of the Science of Mind textbook, under the word love, it says love is the self-givingness of spirit to its creation. So generosity, the self-givingness of spirit, is ingrained in life. We're born to be generous. Thank you, Susan, for your beautiful, beautiful opening and explaining to us the depth of the word generosity. It's much bigger than just material gifts. It's about giving of ourselves to life, giving of ourselves so we can be part of this beautiful thing called life. And when I thought of the infinite flow of generosity, if you know me and my relationship to the Sufi mystics, I love them. My second favorite Sufi mystic is Hafez, and he said this, which is like the infinite flow of generosity encapsulated in what I think that means. For me, it's the perfect definition. Even after all these years, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." And look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. Doesn't that sound like the working of generosity in our lives? That when we can just share without the expectation of return, just giving for giving's sake, then we can know that that goodness keeps perpetuating itself and sharing to light up the world, to really have an effect on the collective consciousness of humanity. I heard a phrase this week, and I loved it. And it was Elizabeth Gilbert that was talking, and she was talking about a Celtic phrase and how her life has so improved since she has let go of being attached to the outcome of things. And she said, I say this phrase that came from a Celtic poem about finding inner balance, and it's having, I have no cherished outcomes. I have no cherished outcomes. And I had to think about what that meant, because we want to want things and desire things. I mean, that's part of our personality and who we are and keeps us going. But the cherished outcomes are when, if it doesn't turn out this way, you're going to be whatever you want to say. Not so happy. It's going to ruin a really good day if you don't get what you want. You know, we can want things and desire things, but when we can let go of they have to be this way, especially in relationships, because guess what? That just doesn't work out so well when it has to be this way. The more flexible we can become with life. So what I really would like us to do today is really get into that consciousness of knowing the abundance of the universe, because everything in our life comes from spirit. Because spirit, God, goodness, creative intelligence, whatever you want to call it, is all there is. So everything comes from that abundant flow. God cannot stop giving. We can block off the flow a little bit, but that's always there for us. So what I want us to do throughout this next 4 weeks, because the Adventure Spirit is 4 weeks long, which just means you're going to spend a little bit more time doing your spiritual practices. So you don't just do a spiritual practice in the morning and go on the rest of the day going blah, 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 and then do your spiritual practice at night. It means you're going to keep it on the top of your consciousness throughout the day. And then if you keep it there during the day, it's going to really happen in the nighttime too. So it's all good. And what that means is relocating the center of our personality. Now, personality has a lot of different definitions. What I'm going to define personality as today is our personality is our individualized expression of spirit. It's the way we're unique and special. You know, we all know that the journey is going to that place of oneness that we just talked about. But that doesn't mean we lose our individuality. We don't just all become the same, because the one thing God isn't is boring. God would not like us all to be the same because we're unique. So our personality is our individualized expression. So during this journey, I'd like us to relocate the center of our personality, our individualized expression. We'd like to shift our perspective. So we move it from our ego, which is our individual self. It's all about me. Move it from ego to spirit. So we just enlarge our perspective of the world, our life and the world. Are you ready? Oh, that sounded really good. Maybe, sort of. Yeah, it's just we have to be conscious that we're living from a larger concept, that we don't just stop here. There's so much more to life. Again, it's when I talk about Emerson's quote, we have to hitch our human wagon to a star. And that star is going to remind us, oh, the star is yellow. Oh, that's good. We can hitch our consciousness to a star to be pulled into always knowing there's something more. There's something more for us. I don't know if you've noticed, being this individualized expression can be fun. But this whole human incarnation is tough. It can be tough. Do you think so? It can be tough at times. It's not always easy. If you think about it, here we have this consciousness that's infinite and eternal. That's our spirit, whatever you want to call it. And this consciousness gets stuffed into this dense human form. That's why it cries when it first comes out, because it's just not comfortable. You know, we don't get it. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel so right. And we're put into a family we don't know, in a world we don't understand, and we lose or get confused. I won't say lose. We don't lose our power, but we lose our remembrance of the power from which we're made and all the power we have within us. And instead of remembering our greatness, and we just came here as students, you know, this human body is a lesson, and we're here to learn even more on the way, we forget. And instead of our greatness, we get stuck in our littleness. It was Marianne Williamson who said, it's not our darkness that frightens us the most, it's our light. You know, because many of us have been born into just a world of scarcity and not enoughness, and some of us original sin, and you know, it can make us feel pretty small. And so we're here in this life to remember, no, we come from an infinite flow of generosity. We will always have what we need if we open to it. We won't always have what we want, but we'll always have what we need. It's there. The one thing about this relocating of our center of our personality, there has to be a willingness inside of us to rise, to lift up, to be more. Doesn't that sound good? To understand more. All the words that Susan read, compassionate, kindness, love, goodness, caring, we'd have more of that if we just open ourselves to it. Now, this spiritual wealth that we call is not something new. This is not a new focus. Actually, Jesus loved spiritual wealth. Jesus was probably the most advanced human I can even think of. He just knew it. And he taught in parables. And he liked to teach in little short stories that would meet people where they are, because you can take layers and layers of parables and learn more. You can hear it once and learn one thing and then hear it more and more. Well, this is a parable that to me is about the infinite flow of generosity. It comes from the Gospel of Matthew, the pearl of great price. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found the one pearl of great price, he went and sold all he had and bought it. Now, he wasn't just gambling on something good. He got it because this one pearl of great price is the spiritual truth, the spiritual awakening that we have everything right now. It's the knowing, wow, this is worth everything. And when that merchant got that one pearl, that one understanding in his mind and in his heart, everything else became secondary. He could realize when we have that star that's guiding us, that light that's leading us into something more, we know that we have everything we need. It's open and available right here and right now. Now, this spiritual wealth, what do we have to let go of? He sold everything to get it. What do we have to let go of to get this spiritual wealth? We have to release the fears, the old beliefs, the attachments that no longer serve us. We've got to let them go so we're more open and available to that good that's ever flowing, that good that's always present and there for us. And once we have it, it's joy, it's love, it's kindness. But it's not enough that we just have it. It has to be shared. And that's what we're talking about. We have to share the good we have for it to magnify and grow. It's just like the light. The light grows when it's given away. We need to share it and give it. The greatest demonstration of generosity came this week for me when our little granddaughter was over, and she's 2 years, 4.5 months. You know, when you're that age, you can count in months, you know. And she had her little backpack, because she started Waldorf preschool a few days a week. And so I bought her a backpack, and she had her little backpack, and they want one that's big so they can grow into them. I said, well, what's in your backpack? And she opened it up, and it was Thursday, and it was hiking day. She said, and her mommy said, oh, it was hiking day. So she goes, Gammy, I found this on my hike, and I found it just for you. I mean, is that the most generous thing in the whole world, to a little 2-year-old finding a pine cone, and it was the only one in her backpack, and she gave it to me, but the love in her eyes and in her heart, and that's what true generosity is. It comes from the heart. It's not the size of what you give, but it's the intention and the heart expansion that's behind it. This is the most prized possession I have right now. For sure, for sure. So, if we want to get to that place where our heart is expanded and we can let go of the fear of scarcity and really live in the consciousness of abundance, have a consciousness of abundance, the first step is just knowing that we live in an abundant world and take time to look at all the goodness in the world. I guarantee you, with all the hardship and all the sadness and all the division and all the problems and all the hardness, I don't want to keep going. I could go on that for a while, but all of that, there's goodness at the heart of all of it. I know it. There's not a person or a thing that doesn't come from that place of goodness. And we need to focus on that. That first song, look for the good in everything. Every act of generosity, no matter how small, sends positive ripples of energy into the world. And that's when we recognize that we are truly co-creators with Spirit. We can use Spirit in our own individualized expression to make things better. So I just take this moment right now, and with your feet on the ground, I'm going to ask you just to open your minds and hearts. And I heard today, it was actually from my daughter, of a thing called the two-way prayer. And it was actually established in the 1930s by an American Lutheran minister, Frank, I can't remember his last name, but he was part of the Oxford group. This is actually where the AA started. It started from this, but it's the two-way prayer where every day we sit down and do something that is holy for us. So just imagine right now, you're either sitting in a garden that feels holy for you, or on the beach, or in the mountains, or you're reading a book that opens your heart and your mind. Just quotes, might read Rumi or Ernest Holmes or something that just makes my heart open. And just feel that right now as you're in that place that is holy. And see yourself as an open channel, making a channel to allow more spirit, more goodness, more generosity, more prosperity into your life right now. And in that place, in this two-way prayer, as you open up to the flow of goodness, you can just ask a simple question that you're expecting a love letter from God, because the answer in a two-way prayer, the only time it's God speaking is if the words are positive and affirmative and loving and caring. And if not, if the words are harsh and rough, you know that's your ego, that you haven't quite gotten hooked onto that star yet. And you need to open up in a greater way to hear the goodness of Spirit speaking to you, through you, as you. And you just open the space for an answer. There's always an answer. and keep that space available. And when you hear that love letter, when you finally get to that place, it's your focus. It's your place to move and come from. When I did this last night, it was like, I have everything I need right now. I have everything I need. Inspiration, love, health, goodness. And that's what I've been floating on. And just with a simple thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. We close that with, and so it is. So what Ernest Holmes said about this spiritual wealth is he said that generosity is an expression of our freedom. So when we're feeling trapped or closed, generosity is our expression of our freedom. Freedom from fear, lack, and limitation. And it's an embrace of our true nature. Paramahansa Yogananda said, the more we expand our sense of compassion, love, and giving to include all life, the closer we come to God. So just say, as we get ready for our second song, just say with me, I am an open channel for Spirit. I accept the flow of goodness and generosity. I become a vessel for it to flow. I feel free. I feel happy. I feel loved. And so it is. Okay, take it over. Where are they? Take it over, guys. Thank you all. Thank you.